Are we ready for a return to Premier League action? Liverpool take on Nottingham Forest at Anfield this weekend, and it's be great to see Premier League action back in full swing. Join me on the other side. What is up, guys? Welcome to Liverpool FC Journal. I'm MW James. This is your Liverpool FC Journal preview of Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest. Anfield, 3 p.m. Saturday. Yes, the first 3 p.m. of the season, guys. Football as God intended it to be played at 3 p.m. on a Saturday. That's when, you know what? If you look in the Bible, in Genesis, or whatever the first book's called, I think it's Genesis, it says, in the beginning, God intended football to be played on a Saturday. That's what it says. That's what it's. Go and check it. Ask anyone. That's what it says. Anyway, before I upset anyone, let's move it on. So obviously this game is slightly complicated for Liverpool by the news. If you haven't caught it this morning, Liverpool will be without two key players for this game. Yes, that is right. Mr. Connor Bradley injured yet again. A guy who has missed 60 games in the last 3 seasons. That is a lot of football, or will have missed 60 games in the last 3 seasons after he misses these next 7 in 22 days. He is unavailable with a muscle injury. Bad news. And of course, we know that Jeremy Frimpong is also out injured long term as well. So, look, that gives us a situation where, do you know, who plays right back? We'll talk about that later in the video, so hang on to that. As my dog starts to drink, he you know what? He always seems to wait till I start recording a video, and that's when he'll suddenly decide that that's when he wants to drink, like he has to get in on the action. So apologies if you can hear a dog drinking in the background. Also, news today from Arne Slot that Florian Wirtz is out injured as well, which is a shame given how well he played for the German national team during the week. It would be nice to have a Florian Wirtz clearly full of confidence back and at it for Liverpool this weekend. But he's not available. He can't play. So I think it's probably a situation where Cody Gakpo comes back into the lineup. But obviously, given the news that Bradley was out, it would have been nice if he would have been back. Alisson Becker is available and will start if he comes through today's training session. That is what Arne Slot has said, which of course does beg the question, what is on Giorgio Mammalashvili's mind at this moment in time? You play quite well, and then you get dropped. But look, as I said before, as I said on the podcast earlier, if you haven't caught it live, check it out. It's on the channel home screen now on YouTube. If Alisson's fit, he's got to start. He's the best goalkeeper. There is a massive drop-off between him and Giorgio Mammalashvili. There's a massive drop-off between Mammalashvili and Kelleher, if I'm being honest with you. And I think there's a number of goals we conceded over this recent period that Alisson Becker has been out, where we wouldn't have conceded those goals had we had Alisson in goal. So I do think having him back is a big boost. Isak will also be available, but I think this game will come too soon for him to start. I cannot see him starting this weekend. Right, so where are we up to with this? Well, if we look at our opponents, Nottingham Forest, obviously on their third manager of the season. Yes, Sean Dyche, the gruff former Everton manager, former Burnley manager, is in charge of them now after they sacked Nuno, then sacked Ange, and then appointed him. You've got to say it's a bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? A merry-go-round. That's, I think, about the best way we can put that at Nottingham Forest. If we look at their last 10 games for their form, they got a creditable 2-2 away draw in the Europa League against Betis. Sevilla, never an easy place to go and play. A 1-0 away home defeat to Sunderland. Sunderland are doing very well this season. We've got them coming up. 3-0 home defeat by Midtjylland, who are actually top of the Europa League standings, which is interesting. 2-0 defeat to Newcastle. A 3-0 defeat at home to Chelsea. They then got a creditable 2-0 home victory in the Europa League against Porto. Never an easy out, Porto. Went to the Vitality, lost 2-0 to Bournemouth before coming back to the City ground and getting a 2-2 against Manchester United. Sturm Graz next up away from home for them, a 0-0 draw against Sturm Graz, and then in their last home game they won 3-1 against Leeds United. So you can see it's a mixed bag of results. Certainly away from home, not great from Forest. A draw against Betis, a defeat against Newcastle, a defeat to Bournemouth, and a draw against Sturm Graz. Look, we all know what Forest will do on Saturday against Liverpool. They will drop back in, they will low block, they will spoil, they will try to delay the game, break the game up as much as possible. But, you know, you look at that Forest team, it's not a bad football team by any stretch of the imagination. you wouldn't say that is a particularly bad football team. You look at their team, they've obviously, Matt Sells is a very, very good goalkeeper. Savona, Milenkovic, Murillo and Williams. Williams, obviously from Liverpool. Murillo is a good player. Milenkovic, a decent player. Their midfield as well. Sangare looks a good footballer. Elliot Anderson, a guy who has been spoken of, has been linked to a number of big Premier League teams for over £100 million, including ourselves actually at one point. Morgan Gibbs-White is an international. And Ndoye is a decent player. Dominguez, decent player. And Igor Jesus as well, a decent player as well. So they've got some good players in that starting 11. That was their starting 11 last time out against Leeds. You can't help but feel maybe a bit more defensively minded against Liverpool on Saturday. Forest, I don't think, will go attacking and will come after Liverpool at all. I think it will be a very, very sort of one-way kind of game, with them looking to hit on the break, which is, I think, a lot of what they did last time they came to Anfield, which, if you haven't forgotten or tried to forget, we did actually lose to them last time at Anfield, a 1-0 defeat last season, coming off the back of, yes, an international break. That's not good, is it, guys? That's not good at all. So yeah, gotta hope for a change of fortunes. Their bench, by the way, they've got some. Let's have a quick look at their bench. They've got some decent players on their bench. Morato, Calamundo, Amari Richardson, decent players. Jamie McAtee, again, another good player. So there are some decent players on their bench and decent impact there from Forest that Sean Dyche will look to use. In terms of the results, so the one graphic of the 117 games is all the games between Liverpool and Forest. The one on the right of the screen is the Anfield record. So overall, Liverpool and Forest have played 117 times. Liverpool have won 58 times, Forest 29 times, and there have been 30 draws. So just under 50% victories for Liverpool in this fixture across the years. Liverpool scoring 189 goals in that time and conceding 108, less than a goal a game. At Anfield, our record obviously is a lot better. It's one of dominance, apart from the last time out, of course. 60 games, Liverpool have won 40 of those 60 games, so 2/3 of those games, 66% victories for Liverpool. There's been 11 draws and only 9 Forest wins in that time. 130 goals in that time, averaging over 2 goals a game as well in that time. Forest with 48, less than a goal a game. Could it be a 2-1 on Saturday? Would you settle for a 2-1 on Saturday? That is the question, guys. Now, if we look at the results record between the two sides, look, this is largely, apart from the last season, that surprise 1-0 defeat with the Hudson-Odoi goal. Liverpool have historically come out on top in this fixture. A 3-0, a 3-2, a 5-1 back in 98-99, a 4-2, a 4-2, a 1-0. There was a draw in 92-93, a 0-0. Then back in the old First Division, guys. Remember those days? 2-0 to Liverpool, 2-0 to Liverpool. So out of the last few fixtures, we've only managed to obviously lose one, draw one. The rest of them have all been victories for Liverpool, and some quite convincing victories in there as well. I'd love a 5-1 or a 4-2 or something like that on Saturday. Before that, you've actually got to go back to 1978 for the last victory for Forest over Liverpool. In a game where I would have only been a few days old back when that game, that's how long ago it was. 47 now. Got to go back 47 years for the last time Forest won at Anfield pre-last season. A 1-0 away victory. Brian Clough was the manager of Forest. Bob Paisley was the manager of Liverpool. True traditional 4-4-2s that day. Let me run you through the teams that day. Ray Clements in goal. What a player. Phil Neal, Phil Thompson, Smith, Hughes, Case, McDermott, Callahan, Kennedy, Highway, Dalglish. What an 11 that was, guys. Against, on the other side of the ball, Anderson, Lloyd, Burns, Clark, O'Neill. That's right, Martin O'Neill, Bowyer, O'Hare, John Robertson, Tony Woodcock, and Peter With. That's a good Forest team as well, wasn't it? There was only one goal a penalty for John Robertson on that day from a foul on John O'Hare. Giving them the penalty. They scored that goal and they won the game 1-0. But like I said, that's 47 years ago for the victory before last season. So you've got to go a fair way back, guys. A fair way back for that, haven't you? So 78, yeah, like I said, was only a few days old back then. Look, this is not a game that's going to be easy. Let's face it. I know Forest are lower down the league. They're 19th at the moment. Liverpool are 8th. It's the lowest Liverpool have been at this stage in the season for an awful long period of time. But it will be tricky. It will be a much trickier game. Forest obviously are a different team to the team that are down in that 19th place now. They are a lot trickier, harder to face and come up against. Look, I think in terms of lineups on Saturday, I think, Slot has got some very big decisions to make given the injuries that we have to Bradley, to Wirtz, obviously with Isak back, Alisson back. Joe Gomez could start at right back. Jones could start at right back. Sobbo. Could Calvin Ramsey come in? Now, in terms of the lineups, these are my lineups for the game. So, my lineup and the lineup I think the manager will go with. So, my lineup is Alisson, back four of Ramsey, Konate, Virgil and Robbo. Grav, Maka and Sobbo in midfield. And Chiesa, Ekitike and Gakpo up top. I've gone for Ramsey at right back because he's a right back and I don't want to see Dom Szoboszlai at right back. Joe Gomez, I think, stands zero chance of playing at right back given Arne Slot's comments about him not being available, for 7 games in 22 days. And I think the manager doesn't really trust Joe Gomez. So I think there's little chance of that happening. So I would like to see Calvin Ramsey given a chance there. He played really well in that Palace game, who are a Premier League team after all, and a better Premier League team than Nottingham Forest. So I'd like to see Calvin Ramsey given a game. I think the centre-halves do pick themselves because we've got very little option there. I'd rather see Robbo in there and then Kirkez against PSV in midweek. I think Robbo brings you the leadership, the grit, the determination you'll need for this battle. A midfield 3, again, which are ready for a battle. Grav, Maka and Sobbo. I just think taking Sobbo out of midfield takes too much away from our midfield. It takes the energy. It takes the engine out. Chiesa on the right. I know there's no chance of that happening. I just think Salah's form is just so bad at the moment. And we carry him at the moment. Ekitike for me starts up top because I don't think Isak is fit enough to start. And he is direct, he is quick, and his confidence will be through the roof after a great display for France during the week. And Cody Gakpo kind of has to come in on the left because of the fact that Florian Wirtz is injured. But I do think the manager will go with something like this. Alisson in goal, back four, Sobbo, Konate, Virgil, Robbo. Could be Kirkez, I don't know. I think he's more likely to go with Kirkez against PSV. Grav, Maka, and I think Curtis Jones will come in because Sobbo's at right back. I mean, I like Curtis Jones. I think he's a good player. I think he gets a lot of unnecessary hate. And then I think he'll go with Salah, Ekitike and Gakpo up top. Guys, let me know your lineup predictions, please, in the comments. And also your score predictions. My score prediction, I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool. On Saturday, I think it'll be a 3-1 win. Let's get back to winning ways and win these next few games and fly back up that league table. Guys, if you've enjoyed the content, please like, comment, share and subscribe. And we're back very soon with another video. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.